I am Aligar Lingappa, Assistant Professor in Physics, Government Postgraduate College, Sirguppa. Today, I will discuss about Introduction to Diffraction. Today, I will start the second chapter. So, the optical phenomenon, say, diffraction of light. So, today we have discussed about what is wavefront, what are the properties of wavefront, what is diffraction, and so many things. Here wavefront means it is the locus of several particles which are in the same phase, or it is an imaginary surface having particles which are in the same state of vibration, or wavefront is defined as a continuous locus of all the neighboring points vibrating in the same phase, that is having the same phase of a given instant of time. So here Huygens wave theory, which proposed that, which gave an idea about the concept of wavefront. When a source, if it emits waves, say light waves, then the locus of several particles which are in the same phase is known as a wavefront. The wavefront is also defined as it is an imaginary surface having a particles which are in the same state of vibration. The wavefront is also defined as a continuous locus of all the neighboring points or particles vibrating in the same phase. That means all the particles, they have the same phase at a given instant of time, so called wavefront. So properties of wavefront: the shape of wavefront depends on the shape of the source of disturbance. If a wavefront is always normal to the light rays, a wavefront does not propagate in the backward direction. The line along which energy is propagated is called a ray. It is perpendicular to wavefront at any point. So the shape of the wavefront. So we have different types of wavefront. Different types of wavefronts are based on the shape of the wavefront. Here are given some of the properties, characteristics of wavefront. A wavefront is always normal to the light rays. A wavefront does not propagate in the backward direction. The line along which energy is propagated is called a ray. It is perpendicular to wavefront at any point, so called wavefront. Just to see the diagram, let a source which is at the center of the diagram, where the source which emits light rays, where a straight line from the center that indicates a ray of light, where the curved path that indicates a light wave, Where what about the circles which are drawn or say they are imaginary spheres around the source? Where the imaginary spheres they indicates wavefront. What about the points which are exist on the imaginary sphere? They are said to be, they are in the same phase, they are in the same state of vibration, the locus of all the particles, they are in the same phase or same state of vibration at the same instant of time, so called wavefront. Here the diagram which indicates that a source, the light ray, light waves, and then the wavefront, so called the concept of wavefront. So we have different types of wavefront. Say first one is spherical wavefront. A wavefront in the form of spherical surface is called a spherical wavefront. It is obtained from a point source of light up to a finite distance, which is generated by point source. Now you see the right side diagram, where the right side diagram that indicates that a spherical wavefront. So the wavefront in the form of spherical surfaces is called a spherical wavefront. Usually the spherical wavefront which can be obtained from a point source at a finite distance. So this is one of the type of wavefront. So second one, cylindrical wavefront. The wavefront in the form of cylindrical surface is a cylindrical wavefront. So now you see the right side diagram that indicates a cylinder, so called cylindrical wavefront. Wavefront which is in the form of cylinder. Where is a cylindrical wavefront which can be obtained from an extended light source. Here the cylindrical wavefront which can be generated by a linear source. So called, this is second type of wavefront. So third one, say plane wavefront. A wavefront in the form of plane surface is called plane wavefront. It is obtained by keeping point source at a focus of a convex lens or at a large distance from the point source. So here plane wavefront means the wavefront which is in the form of plane surface. Here the diagram which indicates that plane wavefront. The shape of the plane wavefront. It is obtained by keeping point source at a focus of a convex lens or at a large distance from the point source. So the wavefront obtained when source is at infinite distance, maybe point source or a linear source. So point source or linear source at infinite distance, they generate plane wavefront. But practically the plane wavefronts, they can be generated with the help of a convex lens. So plane wavefront is obtained by keeping point source at a focus of a convex lens or at a large distance from the point source, which is nothing but a part of spherical or cylindrical wavefront, is observed at an infinite distance. So this is the third type of plane wave front. So Huygens principle. According to Huygens, a source of light sends out waves in all the directions, where the dot at the center of wavefront that indicates source, which emits light in all the directions through a hypothetical medium, so-called ether medium, where ether is a hypothetical medium. It gives geometrical method to obtain the new position of the wavefront after some time. So what about the first curved surface? That indicates the locus of the points which are in the same state of vibration is known as wavefront. Every points in that wavefront, they generate a secondary disturbances. All the points in the primary wavefront, they generate secondary disturbances. They generate further disturbances, so-called secondary sources. So again draw the imaginary surface with respect to secondary disturbances. So second curved surface, that indicates the points, the locus of all the points, they are in the same state of vibration, they are in the same phase at the same given time, so called new wavefront or secondary wavefront. What about the disturbances they are generated? They are emitted by the points from the primary wavefront. They are called wavelets or secondary wavelets. So just see the right side diagram, where a point that indicates source. So first curved surface that indicates a primary wavefront. The points on the first curved surface, they are the points, they produces, they generates the secondary disturbances. Again, a big second curved surface that indicates secondary wavefront, where small curves. So at the secondary wavefront indicates secondary wavelets. So this is what about based on Huygens principle. So according to Huygens principle, each point on a wavefront behaves as a secondary source of light and sending secondary wavelets in all possible directions with the velocity of light, so long as they move in the same medium. So each point on a wavefront, so on a primary wavefront, they behave as a secondary source of light, and they are sending secondary wavelets in all possible directions. Their velocity is equal to that of velocity of light. Second one, the new secondary wavelets are travels in forward direction only. New secondary wavelets should not travel in opposite direction, so called backward direction. The envelope tangent to all the wavelets gives the new wavefront, it is called a secondary wavefront. Envelope or draw the imaginary tangent with respect to all the wavelets. So secondary wavelets gives the secondary wavefront. What about we seen? So a big curve, which is called a secondary wavefront at any subsequent time as shown in the above diagram. So now we have discussed about the principle of superposition of waves. We know that some of the phenomenon like the formation of stationary waves, formation of beats, the phenomenon of interference, the phenomenon of diffraction, all they are based on the principle of superposition of waves. Then what about the statement of principle of superposition of waves? So this is a principle which states that when two or more light waves travel in the same direction, they superpose upon each other and the resultant displacement at any point is given by the algebraic sum of two individual waves. So according to principle of superposition of waves, if two or more waves, if they are meeting at a single point, then the resultant displacement at that point must be equal to the algebraic sum or vector sum of the displacements of the individual waves. So let us consider two wave trains. The displacement of a particle at a certain point at any instant are y1 and y2 respectively. When two waves are superimposing on each other, then the resultant displacement of the particle, say r. When a displacement y1 and y2 are in the same direction, then the resultant displacement which is given by r is equal to y1 plus y2. When a displacement y1 and y2 are in opposite direction, then the resultant displacement is given by r is equal to y1 minus y2. If a crest of one wave falls on the crest of the other, or trough of one wave falls on the trough of the other, then the resultant displacement at that point must be equal to y is equal to y1 plus y2. If a crest of one wave falls on the trough of the other, or vice versa, the resultant displacement at that point must be equal to r is equal to y1 minus y2. So based on the principle of superposition of waves, so the phenomenon of interference, the phenomenon of diffraction, the formation of stationary waves, the formation of beats, all they can be explained based on the principle of superposition of waves. So now we have discussed about the phenomenon of diffraction of light. So it is based on the principle of superposition of waves. Then what is diffraction? We know that the phenomenon of interference, the modification in the intensity of light due to superposition of two or more coherent waves. Then what about diffraction of light? Here diffraction of light is defined as the bending of light around the corners such that it spreads out and all illuminates areas where a shadow is expected. So the diffraction of light, which can be defined as It is a property of light by which light bends around the edges of obstacle. It is a property of light by which light bends around the edges of obstacles, so called the phenomena of diffraction of light. Then what about the explanation of diffraction of light? As a result of diffraction, light encroaches the shadow of the objects and makes it limited. The amount of diffraction depends on the following factors. Light encroaches the shadow of the objects and makes it limited. The extent of bending of light, the amount of diffraction, which depends on the following factors. So the amount of diffraction which depend on wavelength of light used. That means the extent of bending of light at the edge of an obstacle is directly proportional to wavelength of light used. Second one, which depend on dimensions of edges or aperture. So the extent of a bending of light is inversely proportional to the area of the aperture. Theta is proportional to 1 by A. So called theta is proportional to lambda by A. The extent of light encroach. So the extent of bending of light, theta is directly proportional to lambda by A, lambda wavelength of light used, A area of the aperture. So for effective diffraction, the dimension of the obstacle should be comparable to the wavelength of light. The diffraction phenomenon shows that light approximately travels in straight lines. Thus, it supports wave theory. So, the effective diffraction which occur only when the size of the obstacle, which is in the order of wavelength of light used. Then what are the illustrations of diffraction or consequences of diffraction in our daily life? Say first one, when a narrow wire is held in the path of a monochromatic light, in the shadow of the wire, there will be fringes which appear similar to the interference fringes. These fringes are due to diffraction of light. If a narrow wire, if it is placed in the path of monochromatic light, then you see that light in the shadow of the wire, where will be fringes are similar to the interference fringes. So they are called fringes of diffraction, diffraction pattern due to diffraction of light. If a small coin or disc is placed in the path of light, then the center of the shadow appears bright and it is surrounded by alternate bright and dark rings or fringes. If a small coin or a disc, if it is placed in the path of monochromatic light, then you can see what about its effect on the screen, where the center of the shadow appears bright, is surrounded by alternating bright and dark fringes, so-called diffraction pattern. That is due to diffraction of light. The third one, when a narrow aperture is placed in the path of light, its image will be wider than expected. So-called, these are the consequences of diffraction. So in this class, we have discussed about the concept of wavefront, different types of wavefronts, Huygens principle, primary wavefront, secondary wavelets, secondary wavefront, the definition of diffraction, how the diffraction which takes place, what about the conditions we must require to obtain sustained diffraction pattern, and the consequences of diffraction and so on. Thank you.